Hello everyone, my name is Marcio Riego. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Get Global. Today we have here Luciano Ferrari. Luciano, can you talk a little bit about yourself?
Hi, sure. It's Marcio. It's a pleasure to speak with you. So I always had a lot of passion for security. When I was a teenager, the internet was still developing in Brazil. So I got internet access, connected to BBSs, exchanging messages, and met some hackers. So it was interesting. We used to meet on shopping malls in São Paulo, hooking our laptops in wireless and the public phones to try to get internet access and playing around with the different malware and etc. So it was a very famous one. I'm not sure if you remember it, called back orifice Trojan backdoor. So it was a lot of fun with that. And all of this, even considering the limitations we had in Brazil. I remember my first security book was called Maximum Security. It was an 800 pages book, but I had to order through a bookstore and pay in advance, but only get it delivered like 30 or 60 days later, or sometimes even 92 days later. So it was a kind of a very hard to get information, and the internet helped a lot with that, but it was still beginning at that time. And I had studied a lot, and I was a self-taught person, and then I started pushing more formal degrees, like I went to the university, and then a master's in computer networks, and then also an MBA that helped me, and it was a changing factor for me. So I was offered later to be transferred from Brazil to US, and I got more exposition to other areas of security, like risk management, compliance, governance. But I always like it to keep always my technical skills, even up to date, so I still do that. I got some certifications like CISSP, CISM, CRISC, and any others, but I'm not finished yet, so I'm still always getting a new one because I think I enjoy doing that. And teaching is also on my DNA, so I was doing teaching since when I was young. I remember giving a physics class to high school, and many other volunteering opportunities and online teaching, so it's kind of interesting. I had published in one training in LinkedIn and working with a second work with LinkedIn Learning right now. Also with something new that is called Code Red, part of EC Council that gives the Certified Ethical Hacking certification. I'm doing some training for them. And earlier this year, so I participated on DEF CON, the most famous hackers conference. So I was a volunteer in helping the first of a kind Red Team Village and the aviation village. That was a success, and I enjoyed so much working with that. So it was really fun.
Well, really nice. Well, you are Get Global's one of the instructors responsible for cybersecurity, and now we have all this personal data and the data privacy laws popping up everywhere, all around the world. And how do you see those laws, and how does it change for a cybersecurity professional?
Well, so it should start always when you have to impact your security strategy. So when you're developing security strategies, so that's how it should start. You have to understand and monitor all the regulations that affect your business and make sure it is properly reflected into your security strategy. So that's how it starts. But then it has to be inserted fully into your security program and have to manage that using your security governance that are in place, including everything that you do normally, like risk management, your resource capabilities and processes, your policies and standards have to be adapted to that as well. Are your existing policies, for example, are reflecting the requirements for regulations that we have to comply with? Do I have proper skill sets on my team or in enough resources on my organization, and even a security organization, to support the compliance requirements, and so on? So there are so many things that have to be done.
Yeah, do you think that cybersecurity become more important for the companies because of those regulations?
Yes, so they also have this aspect because I remember, for example, sometimes and many times actually, when you have to go to the board or to senior management to request some kind of we saw that was something really, really important that we have to ask for support, and many times we were ignored or something like that. But then I learned a very interesting tricky that when I say that it's for regulation A or B or something, not that I'm lying, so it's really true, but when it's for the regulation, it seems like I get more attention. So, and then budgets are sometimes released because people are concerned and they are afraid of fines and breaches and all the things like that. So it really helped at that.
Yeah, and now we have the GDPR, the CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act, the Brazilian LGPD. So we have all these regulations. So I've been talking with cybersecurity professionals all around the world, and every one of those professionals, they say the same thing. Because of the regulation, life became a little bit easier, let's put it this way, for a cybersecurity professional. And I would like to know your opinion about the DPO roles. Do you think that cybersecurity needs to work together with the DPO? Get Global has its own global DPO program, and we know that we have all the lawyers speaking about the regulation, and we have you talking a little bit about cybersecurity. Can you tell us your opinion about this, the role of the DPO in cybersecurity, how this should work together in a regular basis?
Yeah, and it's very important. So information security, in my view, it should provide to DPOs the tools, capabilities, and all the resources that they can meet their data protection goals, right? So there should be many interactions of a DPO and information security, even if the company that work today, so there should be many interactions. And also there is one thing important, when more the DPO knows about information security, better results that I can see, and also when more also the security teams know more about data protection, and its requirements, even better. So the DPO provides specific suggestions for what kind of security actions might be considered, like appropriate risks. Yet it does not provide a measure of compliance, I think. Information security professionals, they utilize many other standards that you mentioned, NIST, PCI DSS, ISO 27001, 2, to support data protection strategy implementation. Now, I work in a German company, and I can tell you that the DPO role is not something new in Europe, especially even before the GDPR, for example. So there is a study that you probably aware of from IAPP that showed that in 2017, for example, there was about 70,000 registered DPOs, but a new recent study brings the number up to 500,000 registered DPOs in Europe. So depending on the organization, so it may vary a lot on how your organization is set up, organization structure. But some use the CISOs as a role of DPO. I personally don't think that's something a good idea because I believe that potentially could be some interest of conflict of interest when you have the DPO under the CISO umbrellas. The same thing that happened in the past when you have CISOs reporting to CIOs. The Chief Information Security Officer. I think we have similar situation. I think they have DPO has a different role and they have to interact a lot, but they should be separated, in my opinion. And to me, DPO normally have they need direct access to senior management, and sometimes some organizations they put the CISOs on a kind of a mid-level position and not a senior management position. And if the DPO is under the CISO, so it may affect the successful of a good DPO, for example. But the interaction have to be very strong, especially if you don't have nothing. If you want to implement something like that, so there should be a lot of work together to make things happen in terms of strategy and define lines, boundaries, what we should be doing, what should I am, and that may change. So I see that sometimes people are still trying to understand what should be their roles and what works best for one company and what's not works so good. So, but the communication is the key process and working together. So that's it.
Yeah, you said things about Europe. We know that Brazil also is getting on the same path. And what about the U.S.? How does the United States see this whole thing? We know there is this CCPA. It's not the same thing. There are quite some differences between the California Consumer Privacy Act and the GDPR. But how do you see the United States in this world picture?
Of course, we are not on the same maturity level that we have in Europe, but it's changing and fastly, especially because of the different number of regulations and the challenges that this is bringing to U.S. companies. We have lots of big breaches here that affected U.S. companies like Equifax and others. So all of those things are making changes or are helping the way to get things changed here in U.S. So the responsibility of DPO and is increasing here in U.S. That's what I can see. We're not there yet as in Europe. They are so mature on that, but this is changing and people are realizing that something has to be done, and maybe it's a completely different road than the CISO, for example.
And do you think an American should attend a training program to become a DPO? Would that be an opportunity for an American?
Oh, of course, yes. There's a lot of opportunities. So people are looking for those type of activities. So there should be a lot of new opportunities. I think that's a perfect time for doing that, actually, because again, as you see in Europe, we have 5,000, right, as I mentioned to you, DPOs registered. So here, we don't have that number. So the opportunity is to start having those certifications. And if you are on the first, I think you can get maybe better job opportunities or something like that. So I think it's a perfect timing right now here in the US.
Okay. Well, my friend, it was great talking with you. I appreciate your time. Any final message for our viewers?
No, just try to be safe and make sure to understand that security and compliance are different things, but you have to keep both going together.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care.